The amount of creative energy around me is amazing, and I can really feel it, and I can't thank you all enough for being here to celebrate a very important moment in our city as we launch our city's next cultural planning process. I'm Heather Mitchell. I'm very honored to be one of the founding One Columbia for Arts and History board members and represent our entire team here today. One Columbia for Arts and History is on the forefront of continuing to push and transform our city into a vibrant, thriving place for arts and culture, a place of economic vitality, just a place where the arts and how much we value them is visible and present every day in our lives. So we have branded this next journey we're about to start on. It's a 12 to 18 month process, and we're calling it Amplify, a cultural plan for the Columbia area. As the name implies, the planning process will highlight the existing arts, cultural, and heritage resources of Columbia and recommend ways we can strengthen these valuable assets in our entire community. So there's been a lot of work to get us to this day, and the pre-planning process has introduced a large number of stakeholders to each other and to this process. If you go to the website, amplifycolumbia.com, you can find all of their names, and a lot of them are here around us and gathered behind me today. So please raise your hand as I call your group, or you represent a group of either City of Columbia staff, One Columbia staff and board members. We have a steering committee that's formed to guide this process. We have thought leaders who are a team of advisors. We have artist facilitators who are all involved as well. We're also very honored to have Ken May, the Executive Director of the South Carolina Arts Commission, with us to celebrate and help us launch this today. And we thank each and every one of you and all of the artists who are gathered here today, representing all sorts of disciplines, for all the work that they've already done and the commitment that they've already volunteered and promised to all the work that lays ahead. And so at this time, it's my distinct honor to introduce Columbia City Councilman Sam Davis. He is a member of the Amplify Steering Committee, and he has served on this city on council since 1998, and we can't thank him enough for his leadership and commitment to this process. Councilman Davis?
I'm honored to be serving on this committee because it's all about bringing everything together. We know that the arts, its benefactors, its participants, and the people who enjoy the end product is what makes Columbia great. It's going to make us greater. I've served a long time on council, but I'm also an artist, and I've learned to have a deep-seated respect for organizations and people who work hard to support and help artists in their efforts. And yes, I'm a blacksmith, and I can tell you that I would not be standing here without my involvement. When I met the great blacksmith, master blacksmith, Philip Simmons, and I asked him to teach me the craft, he said, you have to learn certain things, and you've got to learn how to put the metal together. So therefore, I went to the Arts Commission because I needed a welder. And that first funding, about $2,000, set me on the road, set me on a path where I can now tell you that I've got 4 sets of gates at the Lutheran Seminary, and was also fortunate enough to be commissioned to do a gate next to the in Charleston, and that gate right now is in the historic district. So I say that to say this, that we have to make sure that we include people who have traditionally not been involved, those who have been underserved when it comes to the arts. That is the bottom line, and that is the focus. The committee is well talented. The committee is reaching out, and we want to make sure that we get input from everybody, everyone you know who have the talents and are willing to contribute to the artistic and cultural fiber of our capital city. And the way you do that is to stay in touch, listen out, and by all means volunteer. I'm going to stop here. I had some written words, but I would be repetitious on everything that you're going to hear. So what I would like to do right now is to introduce our poet laureate, Dr. Ed Madden.
This is called The Sound of a Needle on Vinyl, and I want to say thanks to all the friends who responded to my question on Facebook about their first experiences of arts and culture, many of which appear in this poem. I give you the macrame owl, the one with broken pine cones for eyes. I give you the candy dish on the coffee table, its hard nuggets of sugar and color stuck together. I give you the turkey made from a drawing of your hand. I give you those big picture books with cracked spines that your mother read to you, the way her voice changed to shape the story. And then there's your dad, putting on the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street, turning it up and dancing around, not gracefully, a little unhinged maybe, but with a lot of passion. I give you that first concert. Was it Michael Jackson? You memorized the names of all 5 Jacksons, memorized the songs. You were jealous of your cousin's pierced ear, that dangling glove earring. You slept with his albums under your bed in hopes that you would dream of him and his tiger. You were 8. Can you see the little girl in pigtails dancing in the dining room till dinner time? Or the little boy obsessed with mime? I give you that moment someone explained to you that when someone dies on stage, it's make-believe. I give you that moment you fell asleep during the musical or during church, and then when you woke up during the last song, you thought you had woken up in heaven. What was the first song that made you cry? Do you remember the first time you smelled a dark room? I give you the bright plaster tropical fish swimming across Aunt Betty's bathroom, fish not found in nature but found in Aunt Betty's bathroom. I give you the bronze and copper statues of deer in your grandfather's office, the way they felt in your hand when you played with them. You were not supposed to play with them. The doe with a relief image of a fawn on her stomach. I give you the stiletto heels your mother spray painted gold and placed elves inside, your favorite Christmas decoration. Who was the child in that framed portrait at the back of Granny Lola's house? Was the child dead? They used to do that. I give you that dark, hand-carved frame. I give you the old man at your grandma's church who taught you to sing with shape notes. It was serious business. It was like a foreign language. I give you the women, syncopated clapping, the shuffling of feet, the bending and rising of bodies with the lyrics of the song. I give you that moment you picked out your mom among the other women, sure you heard her voice alone. I give you Mrs. Slavin's weekly music class, the 5-line chalk holder she used to draw a musical staff on the board, the way it would sometimes squeal, and then she'd write in the notes. You loved her weekly visits and the songs she taught you. You still remember Hava Nagila. I give you Leontine Price and some guy singing on PBS when you were flipping through the channels. It was Samson and Delilah. You didn't understand a word of what they were saying, but you were, for that moment, in another world. I give you the first time you saw deaf people waving their hands in applause. It was after a dance performance. Their silence and motion was as beautiful as the dance. Do you remember the May Day celebration at Earlwood Park decades ago? Your dress made of crepe paper. It was the prettiest dress in the world. Crepe paper like the streamers weaving in and out and plaiting the pole. I give you your mother laying out the pattern for a dress on the dining table and cutting out the fabric pieces. I give you spirograph, Etch-a-Sketch, string art, Light-Brite, Play-Doh, and that little plastic handmade potholder loom. I give you the Oriental rug and the floor of your family's military housing. It mesmerized you. You could ride the elephants all day. I give you the black and white prints of classical architecture, Ionic, Doric, acanthus leaves, hanging in the cramped rooms of a tract home. Your aunts would tell stories in the living room, and your uncles would tell stories outside under the oak trees. When did you realize these were two very different sets of stories? I give you your uncle's swanky Eames chair. I give you that drum solo in Inagata Davida by Iron Butterfly. You listened to it with your dad in the car. It's the reason you took drum lessons. I give you your mother singing, her clear, powerful soprano until chemotherapy and radiation took her voice away. I give you the organ in the corner no one ever played. Your father brought it home from the war, that little Swiss-made wooden music box. Your mother used to wind it up and place it on her pillow when you lay down for a nap. When your father died, your mother gave it to you. When was it you realized you were tone deaf and started to sing only in the car or in your head? I want you to sing again. I give you Aunt Mary's sound system, the red velvet panels and wood carvings and the sound of Billie Holiday. I give you Billie Holiday's voice and the crackling sound of a needle on vinyl. I give you the crackling sound of a needle on vinyl. Thank you. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our mayor, the Honorable Steve Benjamin.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, nor how charged with punishments to scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Columbia, we are here today by choice, not by chance. We stand here between this beautiful historic township auditorium behind us, in front of one of the most historic buildings in our state, representing the beautiful built infrastructure, surrounded by people who have made a commitment to supporting our natural infrastructure, protecting our environment, but representing the most important asset we have, our human infrastructure. The people of this community. I see he's and she's and theys, and none of your business. But all of us representing us, We have one of the most incredible and talented artistic communities in the entire country right here in Columbia, South Carolina. And that was represented just now by our incredible poet laureate, Dr. Ed Madden. How about another round of applause for Ed? I want to thank Ed for his leadership and sharing his gifts with us as always. Ed and I have had a running, pretty strong record the last couple of years. He brings us a new poem for the state of the city. We do not coordinate, we do not collaborate, and we've been on point each time. So far, we're going to see how it goes tomorrow night, but we're on the same wavelength. Thank you, Ed, and so many of you others here, similarly situated, that have worked every single day to enrich the fabric of this city, make us stronger every single day. I'm so thankful that the City of Columbia, Mr. Davis, and all of our colleagues, that we partnered up with One Columbia to make Amplify something special and help direct the cultural path of this city over the next generation. We're all lucky to have Marjorie's guidance, a transformational professional who has has enjoyed the respect of people all across America and across the globe. We look forward to her professional experience helping guide this process. Columbia is in interesting times. America is in incredibly challenging times. We can either choose to sit on the sidelines and just let things happen around us, or we can choose that we're going to be the masters of our faith, that we're going to be the captains of our soul, that we're going to direct Columbia into being what we believe and know it can be, the most talented, most educated, most entrepreneurial, the strongest cultural asset that America can possibly have. Amplify will make sure that that happens. It's my pleasure to introduce the artist and the arts educator, Terrence Henderson. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. I'm Terrence Henderson, as he said, a performing artist and educator here in Columbia. And I'm so thankful for this moment. When I came to Columbia 22 years ago in 1996, I started out as a student at the university and an avid performer in the community theater stages all across the city. And one thing I never subscribed to as an artist was the notion that I had to leave here, or that living here in Columbia meant that somehow I was not going to be able to be successful, or that I wasn't going to be able to be a great artist, or really, really great at what I did. In fact, I got my first professional offer as a student at the University of South Carolina. And that was proof to me and reminded me that my reach would not be limited because of living here in South Carolina, but it would also be enriched by living here in Columbia, South Carolina. The transition from student to artist as a professional was quite difficult at times, and there weren't a lot of signs pointing towards that being a great idea. There weren't a lot of faces and voices that looked and sounded like mine. So now that I stand here today, I'm proud of the progress that has been made over these 22 years and look forward to the progress we'll make together with the commitments that we're making today. We have a very rare opportunity here in Columbia to create a very unique cultural identity that's as diverse and inclusive and wide encompassing as the people that we have here gathered today and all across our great city. As an artist, I've been lucky to witness the transformative power of art and how it has been used as a tool for change, to bridge gaps, to engage conversation, to heal, to educate, and empower. It took me a long time as an artist to actually realize that my work and my stories are important because they're mine, and that my view and my perspective as an artist wasn't waiting on validation so much as it was waiting on opportunities. And so I don't take this moment today for granted, because it means that it matters to us, the commitment that we're making today, the great work that many artists like myself have been doing in this community for many, many years. It means that we are going to all work together to be the community that we seek. It means that it matters to us how we support the great work of not just artists, but all of our community leaders. And that it matters the reach of our great potential here in Columbia misses no one. I look forward to, in the future, a celebration of the fruits of the labors that we are committing to do today together.
Thank you, Terrence, for those powerful words. As has been mentioned so many times today, this is a very, very inclusive process that we envision. And so there's ways for all of us to get involved. First of all, on the amplifycolumbia.com website, there is a survey about the cultural planning process and your role in the arts, and we encourage each and every one of you just to take a few minutes, jump on and complete that survey so that Margie and her team have great resources and real data to build this plan upon. Secondly, there will be numerous events, and these will be publicized on the website, so please check them often. There'll be neighborhood and artist gatherings, and the more people that show up and the more voices we have, the richer this plan will be. And Ed Madden gave us so many moments of history and where arts and memories have been part of our lives, and we know that this plan is about making sure those moments continue and get stronger and are amplified for each future generation, for all of us to enjoy and to be so proud of our city and what happens here. And so for one of those moments, I know that you will enjoy our wrap up where Indigo Soul, Terrence Henderson, along with Katrina Blanding and Kendrick Marion, are going to join us on stage, and you're going to be treated to a grand finale from Indigo Soul.
Bum, 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 ooh, bum, 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 ooh.
People, you understand me now. How sometimes I get a little mad. Don't you know, no one in life is always an angel. When times get hard, you see a little bad. But I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.
People, you know I'm so carefree with a joy that's hard to hide.
Sometimes all I have is worry, and that's when you'll see my other side. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. If I seem edgy, I want you to know that I never mean to take it out on you. Life has its problems, and I get more than my share, but that's one thing I never mean to do, 'cause I love you. I love you. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.